Hello, hello, welcome in, welcome in. Thanks for joining. I'm just trying to get the board updated so it matches our topic that we're talking about today, which is going to be all about long grief. And yeah, just bear with me, please. Boards, alrighty. There we go. Now we are rocking and rolling. We are rocking and rolling. Okay. Okay, so today, okay, hello, hello, welcome in. How are you today? Thank you for joining. Let's see. Miss Peaches 007. Thank you so much for joining and sharing. Glad to be connected with you. I've seen you in multiple rooms. But yeah, I am going to be talking about long grief today. And I'm just trying to get myself together. Today has been, I'm off to a late start, and apparently I cannot get my phone to stay up. So, but hello, welcome in, Yankee. Thank you so much for joining us. Today we're going to be talking about long grief, talking about what that journey is like when you lose someone, and or if you've lost many people, and some ways to cope and things of that nature. So, thank you for joining. Thanks for those likes, Peaches 007. Welcome in. I see. Let's see. Who's this? I missed you. So I wanted to start by getting an actual definition, because I don't know if I'm just if I made up a term or not, or if it's an actual term. And welcome in, Maurice Prince 602. Welcome in. Is it Boa Roberts? Thank you, Maurice Prince 602. Welcome in. Is it Boa Roberts? Thank you for joining. Okay, I'm back. Alrighty. So, but yes, so today I wanted to talk about long grief and how I came up with this topic. I started thinking about how they talk about the VidiVid 19. I don't think we can say that on here, but how basically when that was going around, and it's still here, but during 2020, 2021, when it was hitting here kind of broadly all over the place, they were talking about the effects of long VIDI-19. And it's like you didn't know what the effects were or how it would affect people long term. And so I started thinking about grief and long grief. And so for me, I lost my parents, my adopted parents, over 20 years ago. And so it's been a long journey, a long journey. So let's see. Let me catch up on the comments. So Peaches 07, my brother lost his wife in August. Sorry to hear that. You have your pen? Okay, perfect. But yes, sorry to hear that for sure. But yeah, grief is something that I don't think a lot of us understand or talk about much because it's such a hard topic, right? But I found a definition, and so according to Very Well Health, long grief is often referred to as prolonged grief disorder, and it's characterized by intense and persistent feelings of loss that do not improve over time. And it says it can lead to significant emotional distress and impair daily functioning. And so some of the symptoms include debilitating feelings of loss, emotional distress, and difficulty resuming normal life. And so with that, it's suggested that people engage in self-care, that they have support. If you can find community, then that can be helpful. But it really impacts and affects people in different ways. And so I see it says, is male grief different than female grief? That's a great question. Let's actually look it up and see if we can get an answer for that. So, and also too, I want to preface this conversation again by just saying that I'm not a medical professional, not a therapist or anything like that. I'm just speaking from lived experience and just some of the things I've observed as I've watched other people deal with grief. And so, but the answer that I'm getting from online, and I'm using Copilot, Microsoft. Well, I don't even know if I could say those brand names, but I'm using AI to ask these questions. And so it says male and female grief responses often differ due to biological, societal, and cultural influences, and it affects how individuals process and express their emotions during loss. And so, of course, these are just generalizations, but it says typically women are more likely to express their emotions openly, while men often feel societal pressure to remain stoic and may often suppress their emotions. But of course, those are broad generalizations, and it can impact people of different genders or non-binary people in different ways, regardless of gender. Yeah, absolutely. So when it comes to my story of losing my mom, my adopted mom, my mom, she was disabled. She was wheelchair bound. She was the first of 5 children that my grandmother was not supposed to have. And so it was kind of like family knowledge or a family joke that wasn't based on anything really, but we just always said because she was the first of 5 kids that my grandmother was never supposed to have, she ended up with all the health issues. So she was born with a heart murmur and diagnosed with diabetes at the age of 12. And she just spent a lot of her life being in and out of the hospital. And so she had a long, rough road when it came to health. by the time I came around, which she adopted me in her late 30s. And so by the time I came around, she was walking on a cane, and then eventually a walker, and then eventually she was wheelchair bound. And so she was a double amputee, had countless surgeries. So I grew up being a caretaker for my mother. And when I was 14 years old, I went to go visit my biological mother because my adopted parents were friends of my biological family. So I've always known who my biological people were. And so that's that. And that's another conversation for another day. But basically, I went that summer when I turned 14 to go see my biological mom. And I turned 15 while I was out in California visiting my biological mom. And by the time I came back at 15, my adopted mom was gone. So I was coming back to her funeral. And so with that, they said she died of natural causes. But again, she had a long struggle with her health. Fast forward 2 years later, I was in marching band growing up, and my adopted dad, came to move to Oklahoma to live with us about the time I was 13. And so every football game, every performance, whatever, my dad picked me up, dropped me off, always on time. He took me to school every day, picked me up every day, always on time, a lot of times before time. So one night, my dad was late, and normally I'm the first to get picked up. And this was after a football game we had just played, so I was putting my instruments away, and normally I'm the first to go. My dad didn't show up, so I'm sitting there waiting, and I'm the last kid there, which was not normal. So my band director asked me if I had anybody to call, and my aunt, she stayed behind the school, in the neighborhood behind my high school. And so I called her. She was able to come pick me up and take me home. And so as we're driving home, we see my dad's car flashing on the side of the road. He had run into the back of a car, and so he was fine, but he was like discombobulated. And so I hop out of the car, and my dad is getting questioned by a police officer. And so my dad is asking, like, hey, or the police officer is asking, like, hey, does your dad drink? Does your dad, do any drugs? He seems out of it. And I was like, no, my dad doesn't do any of that stuff. What are you talking about? And so fast forward to a few days later, which ended up being his birthday. He ended up talking to the neighbor across the street, and he just said he'd been having these really bad headaches. And so the neighbor across the street, told him, maybe you should go to the hospital and get that checked out, because something doesn't seem right. So he went to the hospital, and we find out he has a brain tumor. And then we find out that it is sometime later that it was brain cancer. So we're talking a span of 3 months, and he was gone. And so this was senior year. I was 17. So it's been over 20 years for my mom. This year, it'll be 20 years since I lost my dad. And so that's something that I've kind of been carrying all of this time. So like, it's like, what do you do with that, right? And so, and maybe it's cultural, maybe it's personality, but I just coped by moving forward, right? You just pick up and you keep yourself busy, right? And so my that was my coping strategy at the time. Welcome in, Disaster Drama Queen. Thank you for the likes and the shares. Thank you so much for that. But thank you, Miss Peaches 007. But yes, so it's like, what do you do with that? So also, me, I'm a bird of a different feather, so I'm not necessarily the most talkative or most communicative with other people. So I don't know if any discussions were happening at the time, but I don't necessarily remember anyone checking in with me after my mom passed, as far as like therapy or anything like that. Of course, I had people looking out for me and taking care of me. I ended up, my grandmother and my aunt, different people in my family would contribute and help my dad, to take care of me after my mom passed. But my hello at Fill Your Cup First Coaching. Welcome in. Thank you. Today we're talking about long grief, and so I'm just sharing my story with grief. So basically, it's been 20 years since I've lost my adopted parents, and so I'm just talking about the ways I used to cope. But yes, after my mom passed, thank you, Miss Peaches 007. But yes, so after my mom passed, I don't ever remember anyone asking me about therapy or mental health or how I was dealing with it. But after my dad passed, I do remember one person, one of the church members, found me in the sanctuary during my dad's funeral. And thank you for that, Miss Peaches 07. You're so sweet. But during my dad's funeral, he found me in the sanctuary because while everyone else was in the fellowship hall, eating after the service, I just went in the sanctuary by myself. It was dark in there, and I just started playing the piano. And he asked me, "Okay, how are you doing? Are you sure you're okay?" And so I told him, "Yeah, I'm fine." And that was that. And I just really threw myself into school. I had struggled freshman and sophomore year because my mom ended up passing that summer, right before my sophomore year. But one of the things I did before my mom passed was I wrote down this list of 100 things I wanted to do. And number one was I wanted to make straight A's, and I wanted to go to college. So then by the time junior and senior year came, I ended up really focusing on school and really trying my best to get those straight A's. And I didn't necessarily get straight A's until that last semester of senior year, but eventually I got it. But yeah, I ended up doing that. Fast forward to college, I go to college, I throw myself into school, I start working. So I start throwing myself into work, and it's just life on fast forward, right? Still not dealing with anything. It wasn't until my 30s, and I'm entering my late 30s now. It wasn't until my late 30s that I started to process grief, because I started to speak to some of my mental health care providers, and I was just kind of explaining a lot of the stuff I had been through. And to me, I'm just listing it like a laundry list, like it's normal. And some people are like, no, it's not normal to deal with such things. And so two of the things that stuck out to me, I ended up getting a diagnosis of complex PTSD. Hi, Gio. Welcome in. Thank you so much for joining us. Today, we're talking about long grief, and I'm just sharing my story about losing my adopted parents over 20 years ago, and how I've been coping and dealing with that. But yes, so I ended up getting that diagnosis of complex PTSD. And that just threw me back because I was like, complex PTSD? I'm not a soldier. I've never been to war. And, I thought that was just something reserved for people who've served. And so she explained to me, that it could be any type of trauma. Fast forward a few years later, I ended up talking to another therapist, and she was just like, have you ever processed your grief? And I'm like, it's been almost 2 decades. What do you mean grief? But yeah, so I ended up getting connected with the therapist on BetterHelp. And I don't know if I can say that company name. I keep making mistakes because TikTok, I'm still learning the rules. but that's how I met her on that platform. And at that time, she was kind of doing some of that grief work with me. And she had this idea of me writing a letter to my parents of all the things that I wanted to say. And I couldn't do it. And I still haven't done it. But yeah, Disaster Drama Queen, thank you for the comment. It says trauma is anything that overwhelms your normal coping mechanisms. Yes. And especially with me being that young, those were my formative years, for sure. Thank you for the likes and the hearts. But yes, so train of thought. Where was I with the story? Train of thought. While I'm finding my place, something you can use is very well. I've been finding these magazines in Sprouts, and they tend to have like different topics. And so this one is ADHD. This one's autism. This one's the mind diet. And I just find they do like a really good job of kind of breaking things down and kind of really doing those health related articles and things like that. And the through line with that is when we got the definition earlier for what long grief is, that was actually a source provided from Very Well. So that's something hopefully that could be useful to you if you ever come across it in Sprouts or anywhere else, or if you look them up online. But it was the letter. Okay, so it was the letter. Yes, talking with the counselor about processing my grief. It was the letter. So I haven't written the letter yet, but I have been able to do it in my art. So for those that may not know, I am a poet and a writer as well. I don't have anything like fully released or published yet. I plan to like pick that back up in 2026. I got a lot of things that I self-published back in the day, but it didn't get any widespread attention. But I have traveled throughout the country doing spoken word. And so for my mom's loss, I did do a monologue type of performance in high school that kind of talked about those memories of spending those mornings with my mom, baking. She was an amazing baker. Like, people would order her cakes from across the country. Like, people would be in California calling to Oklahoma, hey, can you bake me a 7-Up cake? And she would bake it and mail them the cake, which I still don't know how that's possible. I guess they refrigerated it some type of way, but yeah. So I would spend Saturday mornings baking cinnamon rolls. So that was like where it started. But then as it progressed, it talked about like my feelings and my pain from the loss. So that was one artistic way that I was able to address that loss. Another way I was able to process my dad's loss was through a poem. So this one wasn't necessarily a poem for the stage. It was a poem for the page. And it just talks about the his loss as well. But his loss was a little bit different. So in comparison to my mom. So my mom, she was physically disabled, and that's what I was used to. But even though her body had all of these health challenges and ailments, her mind was always sharp. With my dad, it was the reverse. My dad was the strong one, like my superhero, and he worked with his hands and all that. And so when he got sick with brain cancer, it was literally his mind that was gone. And so that a moment that stuck out to me from that time of his quick decline was when he looked straight through me, and he wasn't there. He couldn't see me. He didn't know who I was. He probably didn't know where he was. And then he just let out this scream. It was just a helpless scream. And then he just started, seizing. And so the poem deals with the pain and the weight of that, especially dealing with that as a 16, 17-year-old. So I've been able to acknowledge that grief in the art, but I haven't been able to address it directly by doing that letter exercise. And so that's something I do aspire to do, but I'm closer to getting ready, but I'm just not ready yet. And in fact, this is my first time, I guess, speaking about it directly like this in a forum as public as this, just in a straight on conversation. But thank you so much for the likes. And if I missed you coming into the room, I'm so sorry to have missed you. Let's see. Thank you all for hanging out and listening to the topic. I know this is a really heavy topic. But yeah. So that's a little bit about how I've been processing it. I've had friends who have, and this is what's been the weird experience, because this was all in my childhood, right? I had to be a caretaker in my childhood, and I had to go through that loss. So that's something that I guess the average person would deal with in maybe middle age on up. And so there was only like a handful of us at my high school who had to deal with that. And so fast forward to all of us kind of being in our 30s, I'm having more friends and more family members entering a stage where they have to be caretakers, and entering a stage where they're losing their parents, they're losing their loved ones. And it's kind of weird for me because I don't know how to process it. I don't know how to support, and it triggers these memories, So, but yeah, but on a happier note, one of the things that I've done to remember my parents is, just having their pictures up. So as soon as you walk into my house, a picture of my mom is up that I got from my grandmother, because she had it on her wall, and it was the first picture you would see as you walk through her front door. But my grandmother ended up passing away a few years back as well. And so that's how I inherited that picture, because she wasn't giving up that picture of her baby, her firstborn. So so I ended up with it. My aunt gave it to me. And so that's right as you walk into my house as well. And then welcome in, becoming with the Ejung. Sorry if I mispronounced your name, your screen name. Thank you for joining us. But I have that. And then during my senior year of high school, there was this plaque that one of the church members made. He was a photographer by trade. And so he gifted all of the seniors that year with senior pictures and headshots. And he also got everyone a plaque with their picture on it, their graduation picture, a picture of their graduation invitation. And I'm not sure if everyone got a picture of their parents on there as well, but mine had a picture of my mom and dad, and it says in loving memory on there. So that's can be seen as you're walking in our house as well. And so those pictures, like I said, the picture of my mom by herself was at my grandmother's house. The plaque, I just got that out of the storage recently, probably like the last month or two ago. But it brings me such joy to walk past and be able to see them every day because I haven't seen them in so long. Something else is my husband. He actually ended up getting these testers for cologne. And so he didn't know what the cologne was going to smell like. And so he walked up to me one day. He said, "How does this smell?" And I sat back and I said, "You smell like my dad, like exactly like my dad." Now, I don't know what the name of the cologne my dad used to wear. And of course, it's been over 20 years since I've smelled that fragrance. But as soon as I smelled it on my husband, I was like, that is the cologne that my dad used to wear. And I can't call the name of it right now, but it has a very strong oud smell. And so it's just another way of remembering my father. So, but yeah, so those are ways that I've been kind of just getting joy from the memories. And so yeah, like with that, I have a few more things to share about coping and things like that, but I'm not necessarily like a what am I trying to say? I'm not again, I'm not a therapist or a professional. I'm just sharing my personal lived experience. Welcome in, love to laugh and learn. Thank you so much for joining us. We're talking about long grief and just talking about my journey with my own grief, losing my parents over 20 years ago. And so these are my adopted parents. Now, my biological parents, I'm blessed to still have living, but these were my adopted parents. And so, yeah, but also too, as I'm continuing to share, has anyone else like struggled with grief or with losing someone, or have any tips for coping? Feel free to share those in the chat, and we can kind of share amongst each other. But yeah. So I've talked about the pictures. I've talked about the cologne. Something else that I do to remember my mom is and my husband laughs at me, but he just watches me and lets me do what I'm doing. But my mom loved these frozen Sara Lee pound cakes. I don't know why. I've never liked them at all. But every time I go to the store, well, not every time I go to the store, but I'll switch them out periodically. But I keep a frozen Sara Lee pound cake in my freezer because it reminds me of my mom. I never eat it. I never open it, but it just reminds me of my mom because she was able to. That's what she loved. She liked to eat those. But yeah, so that's something else that I do to help keep her memory alive. Yeah. What else can I share about this journey? Coping, memories, community. Yeah, going back to that community piece though, it's been kind of hard for me to navigate figuring out how to support others as they're going through this as well, because it's kind of like I get frozen. I don't really know what to say or how to help, but I just try to listen. But yeah, but it gets to be tough sometimes. And I don't think a lot of people, if you haven't lost someone close to you, and especially losing them at a pivotal time in your life, um, everyone may not understand that how it affects you on a day-to-day basis, and you might not even understand yourself. Like for years, like I said, when she said grief, I was like, it's been decades, I'm fine. And it's like, no, baby, you need to process that. But yeah, like I was at the dentist one time, and they started talking about a TV show called This Is Us. And I've never seen that show. But they talk about how like a pivotal character died, and it's like over 20 years ago. And of course I can't talk. I got all the stuff in my mouth. They're working on me. But they just kind of made a comment about the characters in the show. They were just like, they just couldn't move on from this loss in the show. And they just kind of brushed it off, saying verbatim, I just think people are a little bit more resilient than that. And that just still sticks out to me to this day, because based on that comment, I'm like, I'm assuming, of course, but I'm like, you must not have lost anyone close to you before. Thank you for thanking me, Gio, for sharing. Yeah, but yeah, it gets hard. It gets hard, and when it comes to the flow of it, grief never really truly goes away. Earlier, I posted on my page, does time heal all wounds? And how does grief shift over time? And basically, my lived experience is that grief flows. It comes and goes. It's like waves. So you have some days where you're like remembering all the good times. You're joyous. You're happy. I like to say all the time, like I've learned just as much from my mom since she's been gone, and just as much from my dad since he's been gone, as I learned when they were here with me. And now, with them actually passing when I was 15 and 17, I've lived more life without them than I actually had the opportunity to live with them. And as I'm looking back over those memories, I'm still learning lessons. But yeah. So some days it's those good memories. The other times it cuts like a knife, like it happened yesterday, like it's fresh. And you can't stop crying. You can't stop, it definitely is tough. But then there are other experiences that I've had. So over these last 2 decades, I've had the opportunity to see my parents in my dreams. And so I know everyone's beliefs are different, but I've had dreams where I feel like they've kind of visited me. Like, so there was a dream that I had where I was on the phone with my dad, and hello, thank you for that follow, teacher turned tech. But yes, there was a phone call where I had, oh, thank you for that. That's so sweet. But yes, there was a phone call and I was on the phone with my dad, and I could hear his voice. I could hear his laugh. He was okay. And so I got that. I get to experience that from time to time. Oh, cousin Kalisa. Hi, Kalisa. How you doing? It's the same thing with my mom. I have dreams about my mom often. And there are times when she lets me know it's okay. Also, I also believe they're my guardian angels. Like they protect me. They help protect me from stuff. And same with my grandmother as well. And so I had a dream about her and my aunt, and it was random. We were walking through my high school and they were trying to help me find stuff. But yeah. So dreams like that bring me peace. But there was one dream I remember with my mom, though. There was like this, it was like, and this is kind of dark, but it was like kind of a war type of thing going on, or some type of riot. It was like fire breaking out and chaos. And my mom was kind of bent down on the ground, and she was trying to help someone, but she looked up at me and she said, "Run." And then I woke up, and it was just kind of weird. But yeah, most of the times when the dreams come, though, they're like peaceful, and that brings me a lot of joy. But yeah, but those were all of the ways that I cope, and all of the ways that I kind of get through. But yeah, that's really the story that I have, the journey that I have. I've been processing different things. Oh, something else that I do is I journal. And I really need to get back in the practice of doing it on a daily basis. This is my latest journal. I haven't got a chance to use it yet, but it says God, Goals, Growing, and Glowing. So I can't wait to crack this open and put my feelings, thoughts, ideas in there. But yeah, so that helps as well. But I do want to make it a goal this year to write that letter of all the things that I want to tell my mom, all the things I want to tell my dad. I oftentimes like look back and look at the things that I do, and I'm always trying to figure out, I feel like they would be proud of me, So yeah. But thank you for the hearts and the taps and the likes. I know this was a heavy topic today, but it came to me today. So I just was like, okay, I don't have anything else to talk about. And so here we are. But said, I know they would. Thank you, Kalisa. Thank you for that. But yeah, like when it came to the topic, because I'm doing this challenge, and I'm going to go live here on TikTok for the next 30 days. And so each day is a different topic. And so the goal of this particular channel, something you can use, is for me to provide something that everyone can use. And so whether it's a product recommendation like this journal here, which I got from the Wally world. I don't think I can say this on TikTok Live. TikTok got all these rules. But I got that from there if you're looking for it. But I'm challenging myself to go live here for those 30 days. And it's like those product recommendations, tech recommendations, style. The style recommendations are not coming from an expert place, but I'm just at a point where I'm exploring and trying to find my style, because I always look like a college student during finals week. Leave it to me, I'm in sweatpants every day. So I'm just going to be exploring, dressing up and having fun with it. So yeah, just content. Thank you for those likes. Let's see. Fill Your Cup Coaching. Thanks for those hearts, Disaster Drama Queen. Fill Your Cup Coaching. I'm glad you have an outlet. Others can learn from your experience of healing. Thank you so much. And that's the goal. You know, I want to have an impact here on this page, because those life lessons are sprinkled in between, because I have those product recommendations and all that. But if I can give somebody something that they can actually use to make their life better, to make their journey better, then that makes all of this worth it. Godmother Agile Life Coach. Hi, new bestie. Thank you for joining. Let's see. Celebrate 2026 together. Thanks for those stickers. Yeah, but it's up in 2026. I've got a lot of goals for 2026. So I'm going to try this page out here. Also, I have a second page here on TikTok. It's no content over there yet, but it's called Shana Like Dana. That's SHANA Like Dana. I have it connected to this profile, but I don't know if y'all can see that on the front end. I can see it on the back end, but I don't know if y'all can see that. But that's the page where I'm going to be putting my poetry and my writing and my more creative projects, and so that one will be more focused on that. So that's the reason for the separation. Something else is the over the past decade, I've been recording content on the low, but I've never released a lot of it. And so I'm going back to see like how I can repurpose that content. And a lot of it was filmed in like vlog style for the YT platform. I can't say it, but they do long form videos over there. And so yeah, so I'm trying to be creative in how I repurpose that, because I shared the journey of different stuff. Like my husband and I, we done moved to California, we done moved to Texas, we done moved back to Oklahoma. So I've documented a lot of that stuff along the way, but I just never put it out. And so 2026 is definitely the year for me to come out of hiding, do some of the things that I've wanted to do, but just been afraid to. So what are some of y'all's goals for 2026? Just to lighten up the room a little bit. Let's see who's still here. So I know Disaster Drama Queen is going live daily as well, and she shares a lot of preparedness tips. And so last night she shared about knowing who your emergency search and rescue contact is. So that was really helpful to know. So I looked mine up, and there's Oklahoma Search and Rescue Council. So if you just search your state and search and rescue, you can find it. And I learned that from her page. So thank you for sharing that, Disaster Drama Queen. Godmother Agile Life Coach, do you have any live streaming goals? Thank you for the rose, Maurice Prince 602. AKA husband, he hates when I call him by his government. Disaster Drama Queen says, start a channel on YT. Okay, yes. So I have one, but again, there's like one video posted. And because I've started this something you can use page here on TikTok, I'm trying to figure out if I should change the name or not, because I've named that other YT channel something different. It's called, I think it's a synchronous butterfly. That's what I named it. But I'm thinking, because I'm sprinkling in the life lessons here, and a lot of those vlogs are life lessons too, maybe I need to rename that page something you can use, so it's just straight across the board for branding, so it can make it easy for people to find it. And I think I slipped up and I said the word. Sorry, TikTok. But yeah. Let's see. Godmother Agile Life Coach said, I will go live soon, starting February, fingers crossed. Okay. Yes. I'll be looking out for that. It's definitely an experience. It's scary before you hit the button the first time. This is my third one in a row. But I feel like I'm getting better as I go along. So hopefully by day 30, we'll have some kind of flow and it won't be so rough. But this one is definitely better than the first two I did, because I tell you, the first one I did, I couldn't even get out the room. I was fumbling with the exit button for like a good 2 minutes and everybody was watching me struggle. Let's see. Disaster drama queen. Oh, she said, oh no, that's her 2026 goal, is to start a YT channel. Cool. Yes, that name, Asynchronous Butterfly. Okay, so yes. So the story behind Asynchronous Butterfly, how I came up with that name, because I kept vlogging and I was like, I don't know what to call y'all, my invisible audience that I never released the content to. And so basically I started thinking about it, and I found out over the last couple of years I'm neurodivergent. And so and butterflies have just always stuck out to me. And autism is often associated with a butterfly. And this, I'm telling the whole backstory because this is how my brain works. But it's like I also am ADHD as well. And so I struggle with time. That could be a whole live topic on in and of itself, is my lifelong struggle with time. But so that's what made me come up with the asynchronous piece. So asynchronous butterfly, but I'm also a poet. So I also caught that double entendre. So I think I broke it up into 3 words, asynchronous butterfly. So even though I'm not on time, I'm right on time, if that makes sense. Okay, so let's see. Godmother Agile Life Coach. I look and sound great. Thank you. Thank you. I told myself I'm going to show up anyway. I've been having this hat on all week. I got to wash my hair. And don't forget to tap, tap, tap. Yes, thank you for the taps. All the engagement helps to, push this live out to more people, and this room can grow. Again, this is something you can use. This is a place where you can always walk away with something that you can use, whether it's a product recommendation, whether it's a life lesson, just something for your daily life. And so, yeah. Disaster Drama Queen said, when I was a kiddo, I believed that butterflies were God's way of waving at me. Oh, that's so sweet. That's beautiful. That's a beautiful way of looking at it. Yeah, I've always been attracted to butterflies for some reason. Every time one flies by, I just gotta look at it. Yeah. And also their story of transformation, how they go from a caterpillar and they spend time in the cocoon and then they come out as something beautiful. When people ask if I'm an early bird or a night owl, I tell them I am a time-blind pterodactyl. Yes. Yes. That is a great way of putting it. Thank you for the roses, Godmother Agile Life Coach. Thank you all so much for sticking around and doing the live. I am proud of myself because we're approaching the hour mark. And so the first live I did 2 days ago, I just did 30 minutes to try and just get the first one out of the way. Yesterday, I set the live for an hour, and I got through all my talking points in like less than 20 minutes. So I was just I was just making stuff up. I forgot who was in the room with me yesterday. I know my husband was with me yesterday, but also someone else stuck around for me. She had the flower shop. I'm trying to remember her screen name, but she had the flower shop. I think it's DCFJ Flower Shop. I gotta get her name, but her screen name. But we just started talking. She just was typing and I was talking, responding to her comments and stuff. So that's how I filled up that hour. So today the content filled up more of the hour. So hopefully tomorrow I'll be a little better. Um I'm still working out my topics. So a topic that I've got in the chamber, my husband was like, I don't know about that one, but I'm going to run it by y'all since y'all are here and I need to fill up these next few minutes. But accountability is sexy. I think that's a good life lesson. What do y'all think about that topic? Accountability is sexy. Yeah, I think that could take up an hour or so. Or maybe be mixed with another topic and we can go from there. But yeah. Let's see. Okay. So this live got 30 views. I got 1 new follower. I have 5 gifters. Thank y'all so much. Y'all could be anywhere else in the world, but y'all here with me. But no, this is cool. I appreciate y'all being here. Did I just like my own live? Dang it. All right. I gotta stop touching the screen. So Disaster Drama Queen said, true, but it is hard to convince people that don't want to be held accountable. Yeah, that part. Godmother, Agile Life Coach said, accountability, we need more of that. Absolutely. Absolutely. But yeah, that's one of the ones I have in the chamber. But I'm going to take this weekend to plan out my topics for the lives. Monday through Friday, going live 6 p.m. Central Standard Time for the next 30 days. And I'll adjust after that. Because TikTok is a grind. I was like, I like YT because YT, you could just probably like post a couple times a week and be good. But this one's like every day. They want engagement. But yeah, Monday through Friday, 6 p.m. Central Standard Time, there will be some type of life lesson topic with different product recommendations in between. Weekend, Saturday, Sunday, I'm still trying to figure out what time I'm going to go live. But I'll be live probably during a pop-up sometime on Saturdays and Sundays. As far as morning times, next week, I'm going to incorporate a few morning study sessions. So I'm studying for my PMP certification. And so I'm thinking about going live somewhere in between 5 a.m. and 7 a.m. so I can get study sessions knocked out before I start my workday. And my goal is to get that PMP in the next 30 days. So we'll see how far I get. But I thought that could be helpful for anybody who's also doing studying for their PMP certification or just needs like to body double and get whatever project you're working on done. So Disaster Drama Queen said, I just do pop-ups on the weekends because my the schedule is too random. Yeah, because I have all this availability during the weekends. I don't work on the weekends, but I'm just a butterfly on the weekends. Yeah. So, Madeline Girl 06 invites you to co-host. I don't know what that is. That looks like it could be a battle. I'm not ready to battle. I'm not ready. This is only my 3rd live. This is only my 3rd live. I'm scared. I've been in a couple of battles so far, but it's just like they're intense. And I'm out of tokens or coins or whatever they're called on here. But yeah, I started looking at at my bank account. I was like, I got to back up off TikTok because I was ordering stuff off TikTok Shop. I was giving gifts and doing flowers and coins and all kinds of things. And I was like, my bank account was like, hold on, Big Meech, slow down. But yeah. But let me see my house because I don't want to hold y'all up. Although I do enjoy y'all being here with me. I'm exactly at 1 hour. So I'm going to stay on for exactly 1 more minute. So that way they can see that I did over an hour. Yay. And I'm going to let y'all get on up out of here. So I guess we can close this out by sharing, if y'all want to share, what's for dinner. For me, I think I'm supposed to be getting Chinese food, which, fun fact, I don't really eat Chinese food. I just have my husband give me the shrimp, the fried jumbo shrimp, and that's what I eat. I don't get like any of the actual dishes. Teacher turned tech, aka my cousin, Kalisa. She said I'm making homemade spaghetti squash with homemade pasta. Okay. Let me know how that turns out. Disaster Drama Queen said, I made spaghetti, salad, and garlic bread. So spaghetti seems to be the favorite tonight. So me and my husband, we've been working to go back plant-based. It's a journey. But one of the things we've done is homemade sauce, gotcha. But one of the things we've done is I get it from Sprouts. It's this the angel hair pasta, but it's made out of hearts of palm. Because he's diabetic, and so we try to do like little substitutions where he can still kind of eat what he likes, but it doesn't send his sugar or anything up. And so we get these noodles, angel hair noodles made out of hearts of palm. And then I get like the it's either Sprouts brand or Rao's brand, RAO''S. And it's like it's either the no sugar or the no sodium, low sodium one. It's about 80 milligrams of sugar or less, or 80 milligrams of sodium or less, one of the two. And that's the way, that we make the pasta, to where the spaghetti, where he can eat it without having to watch his sugar shoot up. So yeah. And he's probably like, why are you putting all my business out there? But yeah. But with that being said, thank y'all so much for sitting with me. I appreciate y'all. I appreciate the gifts. I appreciate the hearts and the likes, and I appreciate your time. I will be back tomorrow with another topic. I'm not sure which one I'm going to go with, but I'll be back tomorrow live at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. With that, I hope this session gave you something you can use, and I will see y'all later. Bye.